Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Globe podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Julia. We are here to help you learn English and improve your life with important skills.
Today, we will talk about life-changing skills. These are skills that can make your life better and help you succeed.
Yes, Adam. We will keep our words and sentences simple so everyone can understand. Segment 1. Introduction to life-changing skills.
Let's start by explaining what we mean by life-changing skills. These are skills that, when you learn them, can have a big impact on your life. They help you do better in your job, have better relationships, and feel more confident.
That's right, Adam. Life-changing skills can make a big difference. They are not just for work, but also for your personal life. For example, learning how to manage your time well can help you feel less stressed and get more things done.
Today, we will focus on one very important skill: communication. Good communication helps you talk to people, share your ideas, and understand what others are saying. This skill is useful in many areas of life.
Yes, communication is key. If you can communicate well, you can solve problems more easily, work better with others, and even make new friends. We will talk more about this in detail.
Before we dive deeper into communication skills, let's talk about why we chose to focus on life-changing skills for our podcast. Julia, why do you think these skills are important for our listeners?
Well, Adam, learning life-changing skills can help our listeners improve their lives in many ways. For example, someone who learns good communication skills might get a promotion at work because they can explain their ideas clearly. Or they might have better relationships with friends and family because they can listen and understand better.
Exactly. And the best part is that these skills are not hard to learn. With practice and the right guidance, anyone can improve their communication skills. That's why we are here, to help you learn and practice these skills in simple, easy-to-understand ways.
Yes, we want to make it as easy as possible for you. We know that learning a new language and new skills at the same time can be challenging. That's why we will use simple words and sentences. We want everyone to feel comfortable and confident as they listen and learn.
Let's give an overview of what we will cover in this episode. First, we will talk about what communication skills are and why they are important. Then, we will give some tips on how to improve your communication skills. Finally, we will do some role-playing scenarios to show you how to use these skills in real-life situations.
That sounds great, Adam. And don't forget, we also have a special guest today. Dr. Emily Brown, an expert in communication skills, will join us later to share her insights and answer some questions from our listeners.
Yes, I am excited to hear from Dr. Brown. She has a lot of experience and knowledge to share. So stay tuned for that.
Before we move on, let's take a moment to think about why you want to improve your communication skills. Maybe you want to do better in your job, or maybe you want to have better conversations with your friends and family. Whatever your reason, remember that improving your communication skills can help you achieve your goals.
That's a good point, Julia. It's important to have a clear reason for why you want to improve. It will help you stay motivated and focused. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. The important thing is to keep practicing and learning.
Yes, practice is key, and we are here to help you every step of the way. So let's get started with our first topic. What are communication skills and why are they important?
Communication skills are the abilities you use to share your ideas, thoughts, and feelings with others. This can be through speaking, writing, or even nonverbal communication like body language.
When you have good communication skills, you can express yourself clearly and understand what others are saying. This helps you to build better relationships, solve problems, and work more effectively with others.
Good communication is important in many areas of life. For example, at work, you need to communicate with your boss, your colleagues, and your customers. If you can do this well, you are more likely to succeed.
In your personal life, good communication helps you to build strong relationships with your friends and family. It can help you to resolve conflicts and understand each other better.
Now that we know why communication skills are important, let's talk about how to improve them. We will share some practical tips that you can start using today.
Yes, let's do that. We will keep our tips simple and easy to follow so you can start practicing right away.
Great! Our first tip is to listen carefully. When someone is speaking, give them your full attention. Don't interrupt, and try to understand what they are saying.
That's a very important tip, Adam. Listening carefully shows that you respect the other person and value what they are saying. It also helps you to understand their point of view better.
Our second tip is to speak clearly and slowly. This makes it easier for others to understand you. If you speak too fast, people might miss some of what you are saying.
Yes, speaking clearly and slowly is very helpful, especially if you are speaking in a language that is not your first language. It gives you time to think about what you want to say and helps the listener to follow along.
Our third tip is to use simple words. Simple words are easier for everyone to understand, especially if you are talking to someone who is also learning English.
That's right, Adam. Using simple words makes your message clear and easy to understand. It also helps to avoid misunderstandings.
Our fourth tip is to ask questions if you don't understand something. This shows that you are listening and that you want to understand. It also helps to clear up any confusion.
Asking questions is a great way to show that you are interested and engaged in the conversation. It also helps to keep the conversation going.
And our fifth tip is to be aware of your body language. Make sure your body language matches your words. For example, if you are saying something positive, smile and use open gestures.
Yes, body language is a big part of communication. It can show your feelings and attitudes even if you are not speaking.
These are our 5 tips to help you improve your communication skills. Remember, the key is to practice. The more you practice, the better you will become.
Yes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Making mistakes is a part of learning. Just keep practicing, and you will improve.
In our next segment, we will talk more about these tips and give some examples of how to use them in real-life situations. Stay tuned.
And remember, we will also have a special guest, Dr. Emily Brown, joining us later. She will share her expert advice and answer some of your questions.
We are excited to have Dr. Brown with us. She has a lot of great insights to share, so you won't want to miss it.
That's right. So let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will dive deeper into our tips for improving communication skills.
Stay with us. We will be right back after this short break.
Segment 2. Deep dive into communication skills. Communication skills help us to express our thoughts and understand others. This is important at work and in personal life.
When we communicate well, people understand us better. It can help us to avoid misunderstandings.
Good communication can also help us to build strong relationships with others.
Let's break down communication skills into speaking, listening, and nonverbal communication.
Yes, Adam. Speaking clearly and confidently is key. But listening is just as important. We must listen to understand, not just to respond.
Let's start with speaking skills. Speaking clearly and confidently is very important. When you speak clearly, people can understand you easily.
Yes, Adam. Speaking clearly means pronouncing your words properly and using simple language. Avoid using too many complicated words or phrases.
Speaking confidently means believing in what you are saying. If you are confident, people are more likely to listen to you and take you seriously.
A good way to practice speaking confidently is to prepare what you want to say. Think about the main points you want to communicate and practice saying them out loud.
Another tip is to slow down. When we speak too quickly, it can be hard for others to understand us. Take your time and speak at a comfortable pace.
Yes, slowing down helps. Also, try to make eye contact with the person you are speaking to. This shows that you are engaged and helps to build a connection.
And don't forget to use pauses. Pausing can give you time to think and also helps to emphasize important points.
Pausing can also give the listener time to process what you are saying. It's a simple but powerful technique.
Now let's talk about listening skills. Listening is just as important as speaking. When we listen well, we can understand others better.
Listening carefully means giving your full attention to the speaker. Don't interrupt or think about what you want to say next. Focus on understanding their message.
One way to show that you are listening is to nod your head or use small verbal cues like yes or I see. This shows the speaker that you are engaged and interested. Another important aspect of listening is to ask clarifying questions if you don't understand something. This shows that you are paying attention and want to understand better.
Yes, asking questions is very helpful. It can also show the speaker that you value their input and are interested in what they have to say.
Paraphrasing is another good listening technique. This means repeating back what the speaker has said in your own words. For example, you can say, "So what you're saying is..." This helps to confirm that you have understood correctly.
And remember to avoid distractions. Put away your phone and other distractions when someone is speaking to you. Give them your full attention.
Listening also involves being patient. Sometimes it takes time for people to express their thoughts. Don't rush them or interrupt. Let them finish speaking before you respond.
Yes, patience is key. Listening well can help to build trust and respect in any relationship.
Now, let's talk about nonverbal communication. This includes body language, facial expressions, and gestures.
Nonverbal communication is very powerful. It can convey a lot of information without using words.
For example, your body posture can show whether you are interested or bored. Sitting up straight and facing the speaker shows that you are engaged.
Facial expressions can also communicate a lot. Smiling, nodding, and making eye contact can show that you are friendly and interested.
Gestures like hand movements can help to emphasize your points, but be careful not to overuse them, as it can be distracting.
Yes, using gestures naturally is important. They should complement your words, not overshadow them.
Another aspect of nonverbal communication is personal space. Be mindful of how close you stand or sit next to someone. Different cultures have different norms about personal space.
Yes, respecting personal space is important. If someone steps back when you are talking to them, it might mean you are standing too close.
Also, be aware of your tone of voice. How you say something can be just as important as what you say. A friendly tone can make a big difference.
A calm and steady tone helps to convey confidence and clarity. Avoid speaking too loudly or too softly.
Combining good speaking, listening, and nonverbal communication skills can greatly improve your overall communication.
Absolutely. These skills are interconnected, and together they help us to communicate effectively.
In our next segment, we will discuss some practical tips and examples to help you improve these communication skills. Stay tuned!
And remember, we have Dr. Emily Brown joining us soon to share her expert advice on communication. She will also answer some of your questions.
We are looking forward to that. So, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will dive into some practical tips for improving your communication skills.
Stay with us. We will be right back after this short break. Segment 3. Interview with an expert.
Now we have a special guest with us today, Dr. Emily Brown, an expert in communication skills.
Welcome, Dr. Brown. Can you tell us why communication skills are so essential in today's world?
Thank you, Adam and Julia. Communication skills are vital because they help us connect with others. In the workplace, clear communication can increase efficiency and reduce errors. In personal life, it helps to build trust and understanding.
That's a great point, Dr. Brown. How do you think communication skills impact our daily lives?
Well, Adam, communication skills impact almost every aspect of our daily lives. When we communicate effectively, we can share our thoughts and feelings more clearly. This helps to avoid misunderstandings and build stronger relationships, whether at work or with friends and family.
Can you give us an example of how good communication can improve workplace efficiency?
Certainly, Julia. In the workplace, clear communication ensures that everyone understands their roles and responsibilities. For instance, in a team project, if all members communicate effectively, they can coordinate their tasks better, avoid duplication of work, and meet deadlines efficiently. It reduces the chances of errors and increases productivity.
That makes a lot of sense. What about personal relationships? How do communication skills play a role there?
Good communication is the foundation of any strong relationship. It helps to express feelings, resolve conflicts, and show empathy. For example, in a friendship, being able to listen and understand a friend's problems can strengthen the bond. In a romantic relationship, clear communication about needs and expectations can prevent misunderstandings and build trust.
Those are excellent examples. What are some common communication barriers, and how can we overcome them?
Common barriers include language differences, cultural misunderstandings, and emotional barriers. To overcome these, we need to be patient, empathetic, and open-minded. Practicing active listening and asking clarifying questions can also help.
Let's talk about language differences. How can someone improve communication when they don't speak the same language as the other person?
Great question, Adam. When dealing with language differences, it's important to speak slowly and use simple words. Nonverbal communication, like gestures and facial expressions, can also help. Using translation tools and learning basic phrases in the other person's language can bridge the gap as well.
Cultural misunderstandings can also be a big barrier. How can we navigate those?
Cultural misunderstandings often arise from different customs, traditions, and communication styles. To navigate these, it's crucial to educate yourself about the other person's culture. Be respectful and avoid making assumptions. Asking questions and being open to learning can foster better understanding and respect.
Emotional barriers can sometimes be the hardest to overcome. What advice do you have for dealing with those?
Emotional barriers such as stress, anger, or fear can hinder effective communication. It's important to recognize and address these emotions. Taking deep breaths, staying calm, and discussing your feelings openly can help. Creating a safe and supportive environment for communication can also make a big difference.
Active listening is something we talked about earlier. Can you explain more about how it can help overcome communication barriers?
Active listening is a powerful tool. It involves fully focusing on the speaker, understanding their message, responding thoughtfully, and remembering what they said. By practicing active listening, you show respect and empathy, which can break down many barriers. It helps the speaker feel heard and valued, which is crucial for effective communication.
What are some practical steps to become a better active listener?
Practical steps include maintaining eye contact, nodding or using verbal affirmations like "I see" or "I understand," and not interrupting the speaker. Reflecting back what the speaker has said and asking clarifying questions can also show that you are engaged and understanding their message.
Sometimes, communication can get complicated. What strategies can we use to simplify our communication?
Simplifying communication can be very effective. Use clear and concise language, avoid jargon, and break down complex ideas into simpler parts. Visual aids like charts or diagrams can also help to convey information more clearly. It's also important to check for understanding by asking the listener to repeat back what they have understood.
In a fast-paced work environment, how can we ensure that our communication remains clear and effective?
In a fast-paced environment, it's crucial to stay organized and focused, prioritize important messages, and keep communication brief and to the point. Using tools like emails or messaging apps can help to document information and avoid misunderstandings. Regular check-ins and feedback sessions can also ensure that everyone is on the same page.
What role does feedback play in improving communication skills?
Feedback is essential for improvement. Constructive feedback helps you understand how others perceive your communication and identify areas for improvement. It should be specific, timely, and focused on behaviors rather than personal attributes. Receiving feedback with an open mind and willingness to improve is equally important.
How can someone give feedback effectively?
Effective feedback should be clear, specific, and actionable. Start with positive points, then discuss areas for improvement, and end with encouragement. Using I statements like, "I noticed that," or "I feel that," can make the feedback less personal and more about the behavior.
We've covered a lot of ground today. Do you have any final tips for our listeners on improving their communication skills?
My final tip would be to practice regularly and be mindful of your communication habits. Pay attention to how you speak, listen, and use nonverbal cues. Always strive to be clear, empathetic, and open-minded. Remember, effective communication is a skill that can always be improved with effort and practice.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. We've learned a lot about the importance of communication skills and how to improve them.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Brown. Your expertise has been incredibly helpful, and I'm sure our listeners will benefit greatly from your advice.
Thank you, Adam and Julia. It was a pleasure to be here and share my knowledge. I hope your listeners find these tips useful and start practicing them in their daily lives.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, stay tuned for more tips and strategies on improving your life skills. We'll be back after a short break.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Segment 4. Practical tips to improve communication skills.
Now, let's talk about some practical tips to improve our communication skills. These tips are simple and can be practiced every day to help you become a better communicator.
Tip number 1. Listen carefully. When someone is speaking, give them your full attention. Avoid interrupting.
Listening carefully is very important. It shows respect for the person speaking and helps you understand their message better. For example, when you are in a meeting at work, put away your phone and focus on the speaker. This will help you understand the discussion and contribute more effectively.
Tip number 2. Speak clearly and slowly. This helps people to understand you better.
Speaking clearly means pronouncing your words correctly and using a steady pace. When you speak too quickly, people might miss important details. For example, if you are giving a presentation, take your time to pronounce each word clearly. This makes it easier for your audience to follow along.
Tip number 3. Use simple words. Simple words are easier for everyone to understand.
Using simple words is especially important when you are speaking with someone who is learning English. For example, instead of saying utilize, you can say use. This makes your message clear and easy to understand.
Tip number 4. Ask questions if you don't understand something. This shows you are listening and want to learn.
Asking questions can clarify information and prevent misunderstandings. For example, if you are not sure about a task at work, don't be afraid to ask your manager for more details. This shows that you are engaged and want to do the job correctly.
Tip number 5. Be aware of your body language. Make sure it matches your words.
Body language includes your facial expressions, gestures, and posture. For example, if you are happy and excited about something, smile and use open gestures. This makes your message more engaging and believable. Let's dive deeper into each of these tips with some practical examples and additional advice.
Starting with listening carefully, one effective technique is active listening. This involves fully concentrating on the speaker, understanding their message, responding appropriately, and remembering what was said.
Yes, active listening can be practiced by making eye contact, nodding occasionally, and using verbal affirmations like, "I understand," or "That's interesting." This encourages the speaker and shows that you are engaged.
Another important aspect of listening is to avoid interrupting. Let the speaker finish their thoughts before you respond. This shows respect and allows for a more complete understanding of their message.
Moving on to speaking clearly and slowly. One useful technique is to practice your speech before important conversations or presentations. This can help you become more comfortable with the material and reduce the chances of speaking too quickly.
Yes, practicing in front of a mirror or with a friend can help. It's also helpful to record yourself and listen to the playback to identify areas where you might need to slow down or enunciate more clearly.
For using simple words, try to think about your audience and their level of understanding. Avoid jargon and technical terms unless you are sure that everyone understands them.
And if you do need to use more complex terms, take a moment to explain them. This makes your communication more inclusive and ensures that everyone is on the same page.
Asking questions is not just about seeking clarification. It's also a way to engage in a conversation more deeply. Questions can show that you are interested in the other person's perspective and value their input.
Exactly. For example, you can ask open-ended questions like, "Can you tell me more about that?" Or, "How do you feel about this?" These questions encourage the speaker to share more information and can lead to a richer discussion.
Being aware of your body language is crucial. Nonverbal cues can reinforce your message or contradict it. For example, crossing your arms might make you seem defensive, even if your words are friendly.
To ensure your body language matches your words, try to maintain an open posture. Keep your arms uncrossed, face the person you are speaking with, and use appropriate gestures to emphasize your points.
Another tip for body language is to be mindful of your facial expressions. Smiling can make you appear more approachable and friendly, while maintaining eye contact shows that you are focused and sincere.
Let's also touch on the importance of feedback. Giving and receiving feedback is a critical part of improving communication skills.
Yes, feedback helps you understand how others perceive your communication and what areas you might need to work on. When giving feedback, be specific and focus on behaviors, not personal attributes.
And when receiving feedback, listen carefully and keep an open mind. Even if the feedback is critical, it can provide valuable insights into how you can improve.
Practicing these tips regularly can significantly enhance your communication skills. It's all about making small, consistent improvements and being mindful of how you communicate with others.
To recap, the 5 practical tips we discussed are: listen carefully, speak clearly and slowly, use simple words, ask questions if you don't understand something, and be aware of your body language.
These tips can help you to communicate better in English and in any language. Remember, effective communication is a skill that can always be improved with practice.
We encourage you to start applying these tips in your daily interactions. You'll be amazed at how much difference they can make.
That's right, Julia. And to our listeners, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found these tips helpful and are inspired to practice them.
Stay tuned for more episodes of the English Globe, where we'll continue to explore important skills and provide practical advice to help you improve. Now let's answer some questions from our listeners. We received many interesting questions, and we're excited to share some helpful answers with you.
Our first question is from Maria in Spain. She asks, "How can I improve my English speaking skills?"
Great question, Maria. Practice is key. Try to speak English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Find a language partner or join an English-speaking group.
Yes, speaking with others is very helpful. You can also practice speaking in front of a mirror or record yourself. This helps you see how you speak and where you can improve.
Another tip is to think in English. Try to describe your day or your surroundings in English. This will help you become more comfortable with the language.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Making mistakes is a natural part of learning. The important thing is to keep practicing.
Our second question is from John in Japan. He asks, "How can I remember new English words?"
John, using new words in sentences can help you remember them. When you use a new word, it becomes part of your active vocabulary.
Another good method is to make flashcards. Write the new word on one side and the definition or a sentence using the word on the other side. Review these flashcards regularly.
You can also group new words by category. For example, if you learn words about food, try to use them together in sentences about a meal you had or a recipe you know.
Repetition is very important. Try to use new words several times throughout the day. The more you use them, the better you will remember them.
Our last question is from Amina in Egypt. She asks, "What can I do if I feel nervous when speaking English?"
Amina, it's normal to feel nervous. Many people feel the same way. One technique to help is deep breathing. Take a few deep breaths before you start speaking to calm your nerves.
Positive thinking can also help. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes and that every mistake is a learning opportunity.
Practicing in a comfortable environment can also build your confidence. Start by speaking with friends or family who are supportive.
Another tip is to prepare in advance. If you know you will have a conversation in English, think about what you want to say and practice it beforehand.
And remember, the more you practice, the more confident you will become. Over time, speaking English will feel more natural.
We hope these answers help you, Maria, John, and Amina, and all our listeners with similar questions.
Yes, thank you for your questions. We love hearing from you and helping you improve your English.
If you have more questions, please send them to us. We will answer more in future episodes.
That's all for today's Q&A segment. Thank you for joining us.
Stay tuned for more tips and advice on the English Globe. Until next time, keep practicing and stay positive.
Thank you for listening to the English Globe podcast. We hope you enjoyed our first episode about life-changing skills.
Yes, we covered a lot today, from the importance of communication skills to practical tips, role-playing scenarios, and answering your questions. We hope you found it helpful and informative.
Remember, practicing these skills can make a big difference in your personal and professional life. Communication is key to building strong relationships and achieving success.
And don't worry if it feels challenging at first. Keep practicing, and you'll see improvement over time. We're here to support you every step of the way.
Next time, we will talk about time management, another important skill that can help you be more productive and organized.
We have some great tips and techniques to share, so make sure you don't miss it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share our podcast with your friends.
Your support helps us reach more learners like you. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please send them to us. We love hearing from our listeners.
You can find us on social media and our website, where we post additional resources and updates. Check the show notes for all the links.
Thank you again for joining us. Keep practicing and improving your English. We're proud of your efforts and progress.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay positive and keep learning.
See you next time.